Good evening, it's John Heaton, and this evening I'm going to review the classic album from Fleetwood Mac, Rumours, from 1977. It was the follow-up to the self-titled album from 1975, which had been their commercial breakthrough. The first album featuring Buckingham and Nicks, that had been, and they carried forward the good form of that album onto this. It's similar in style, and it was even more successful. It was a huge seller, sold millions and millions, number one on both sides of the pond. And what's remarkable about this, and remarkable about all Fleetwood Mac's best albums with this lineup, is the staggering strength of the songwriting. You've got no less than 3 key songwriters in this band with this lineup: Lindsey Buckingham, Stevie Nicks and Christine McVie, and they're all on top form, and they've honed it down to a single, very commercial album, and they were urged to do the same again, to follow this up, and they didn't. They went in a more avant-garde, experimental direction with the double album Tusk, to great effect. But this is their commercial peak, and artistically it also can be seen as a peak of sorts, because the songwriting is just staggeringly good. There's not a weak link on here. So before I go through the tracks, I'll show you, this is the amusing cover photo with Mick Fleetwood and Stevie Nicks, who at the time were having a romantic liaison. Stevie Nicks was in the process of splitting up from Lindsey Buckingham, and the bass player John McVie was in the process of splitting up from Christine McVie, the keyboard and lead singer, one of the lead singers. So all kinds of domestic problems going on within the band, quite unprecedented really before or since in terms of intra-band problems and affairs and stuff. And in case you were wondering, quite a lot of drugs involved in the sessions. I think cocaine was the drug of choice. It was recorded in California, and I forget who produces it. This is the lovely gatefold with the great picture of the band here, with the lyrics, and some great pictures of the band here. And I can see who produced it here, probably, by Fleetwood Mac, with Richard Dashute, Ken Calat, and Chris Morris. So a trusted team who were with them throughout their peak years. So this is my original vinyl, and then this is the newly released 180 gram vinyl. I can't remember whether this album was whiter when it came out and was yellowed over the years, or whether the reissue is consciously whiter. I don't recall this album being that white, but anyway, it's a minor point and the new issue comes with the same insert and also the same label, and the lovely 180 gram vinyl. This is the Warner Brothers custom label with the Avenue there, and very nice packaging, nice pictures of the band mucking around on the back there, and so that's my 2 copies of the vinyl. On CD we have a few things to show you. Picked up this copy in Prague in 1996, and to my delight it had been signed by 3 members of the band. So I asked the owner of the record shop, I think he spoke English because I certainly didn't speak Czech, how did we get these signed, and he said the band came into the shop the other day, so they must have been on tour. And this edition is without bonus tracks, but it's on the same label there, as you can see, and signed by 3 members of the band. I don't think he was charging very much more than the normal asking price. And then a few years ago, this came out in kind of remastered form with a disc of bonus material. Rather bizarrely, it's called An American Masterpiece, which is bizarre because Christine McVie, one of the main songwriters, is English, and John McVie and Mick Fleetwood, the rhythm section, are both English. So, admittedly, the album was recorded in America and features Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, who are both American, but an American masterpiece? I think that's a bit misleading. And then this came out more recently and has got even more demos and some live material from the Rumours tour. So nice to have these reissues with the bonus material. So go back to the original album. This album starts very strongly, as does the previous Fleetwood Mac album, with a storming Lindsey Buckingham opener, Secondhand News, and it's up there in his top 5 songs of his career, in my opinion. I love it to bits. If you listen to the demo, the band haven't quite nailed it. John McVie hasn't quite nailed the bass line, and by the time this record is very well produced, by the time they finished the song, it was just played to perfection. I'm not sure how much overdubs were done and stuff, but it sounds crisp and I wouldn't say live, but it sounds as if the band is in your living room when you play it. It's really great, really wonderfully produced, and good backing vocals as always from Fleetwood Mac, from the people who are not singing the lead vocal, in this case Christine and Stevie. And then we have Stevie Nicks' one of her most famous songs, Dreams, which was a huge hit single and is very well regarded, and certainly nothing against it. I like it. It's just never been in my top favourite Stevie Nicks songs for some reason. The same goes for Rhiannon. If you ask me what my favourite Nicks songs, I'd say Landslide and Sisters of the Moon and Beautiful Child, stuff like that. So, but this is a great song, and deserved to be a hit single. Maybe it's been overplayed over the years. The next song, a little bit anyway. The next song is another complete masterpiece from Lindsey Buckingham, showing his versatility, because it's not a rocker, this one. This is a beautiful piece of acoustic guitar playing, and he's actually doing a solo job on this song, with the exception of some atmospheric backing vocals from the ladies. His finger-picking style is almost second to none, I would say, and it's just a beautiful melody, and it's beautifully sung. And I think this song is also in Lindsey Buckingham's top 5 songs of all time, certainly among his top acoustic efforts. It's absolutely staggering. They did it live on the 1980 tour, and I think on the 77 tour as well, but they never did it as well as they did it on the album. I'm not sure how many takes it took, but he just plays it effortlessly, what sounds like effortlessly anyway. And then we get the song Don't Stop, which is co-written by, pretty sure it's co-written by Christine McVie and Lindsey Buckingham. It's not, it's written by McVie, but it's co-sung. The lead vocal is co-sung by Christine, who sings the opening verse. No, Lindsey sings the opening verse, and then Christine sings the next verse. And they both sing the chorus together. And it's a wonderful, catchy, upbeat, uplifting song. And I think it was also played, I think they reunited specially to play it at Bill Clinton's presidential inauguration in 1992. So it's an evergreen song, again, maybe played a little bit too much over the years, overexposed, but a great song is a great song, and I haven't really got tired of it. And again, they tried to do this song live on occasions, on quite a few occasions, and never really match the wonder of this performance on Rumours. Then we get another absolute classic from Lindsey Buckingham. He's had 3 storming numbers on the first side of this album. Go Your Own Way is a superb rocker. I guess the lyrics are probably aimed at Stevie, although you wouldn't know it from the way Stevie is energetically singing the chorus along with the others. You can go your own way. You can call it Another Lonely Day. It's a great atmospheric number. Wonderful drumming from Mick Fleetwood. He manages to get this very eccentric beat. And if you've ever tried playing air drums to it, it's pretty difficult. So good job from Mick there, and good acoustic from Lindsey, and then doubling up on lead guitar, because Lindsey basically did all the guitar parts for Fleetwood Mac when he was in the band. Again, another wonderful production job and a brilliant song. I guess would be a difficult song to cover for anyone else to cover because of Mick's drumming and because Lindsey is so central to the whole thing. I don't think too many people have tried to cover it. That's nothing to take away from the song. It's a great song, and it's further proof that this album is just solid gold for the most part. Talking of which, side 1 finishes with Christine McVie's first contribution to this album, and what a contribution it is, Songbird. Just a gorgeous piano ballad, more or less a solo number with Lindsey helping out on acoustic guitar, and they would often close their concerts with this haunting song with the great words, and again a little bit sad as a song sounding wise, but very uplifting words. And the songbirds are singing like they know the score, and I love you, I love you, I love you like never before, and I wish you all the love in the world, but most of all I wish it from myself. So very heartfelt and very personal song from Christine, addressed to, who knows, maybe it's the crowd, the fans, a partner, an ex-partner. It works on every single level, and that's the sign of a great song, that it has universal appeal in that respect. People can make of it what they want. And as if side 1 isn't good enough on this stupendous album, you turn over to side 2 and you get The Chain, which I'm pretty sure is co-written by all 3 of them, I think. It's co-written by all 5 of them: Buckingham, McVie, Nicks, Fleetwood, McVie. That might be one of the only tracks from this lineup which is co-written by all 5 of them. But I think the reason for that is that it is such a group effort. It may be the song genesis is Stevie Nicks or Lindsey Buckingham's, but they all contribute musicianship wise, and John McVie does that brilliant bass line towards the end with the drumming coming in and the guitars, and that ending was used as the Formula 1 theme tune on TV for years and years and years. It's just a great song all the way through. Very uplifting chorus, and I think the words, I'm not sure what they mean. I've read things like when Lindsey Buckingham left Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks rather mischievously said, I can still hear you saying you would never break the chain. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's about the fact that their relationship broke up, or the group broke up later. The group was certainly having difficulties during the making of this album, and they weren't breaking up because they probably sensed that it would have been commercial suicide to break up. So they put up with everything, and they continued, and they went on tour together even though they were at each other's throats on a personal level. They were quite happy to rake in the dollars from such a successful album. Why not? And I think ABBA did the same thing when both of those couples were splitting up. They carried on regardless, which is quite interesting, considering all the things you hear about how difficult it is for bands at the best of times to stay together. So if they're at each other's throats and they can still stay together, then it's quite an achievement. I don't want to know, no, sorry, Make Loving Fun is Christine's second contribution, and it's another brilliant song, lovely melody. And I think, again, John McVie must have been playing the bass on this thinking, oh dear, I've lost Christine, and she's singing this love song about the lighting engineer who she was having an affair with, so it must have been difficult for him. But he lays down a funky bass line, and Christine sings a great vocal, and it's one of her evergreen chestnuts, it really is. And I Don't Want to Know from Stevie Nicks is perhaps not as a heavyweight a song as some of her others, but it fits very well onto this album, and a very good group ensemble performance. I think they were right, Mick Fleetwood was right to include this on the album at the expense of Stevie Nicks' other song, Silver Springs, because I just think it fits the mood. I think there maybe, if Silver Springs had been on this album, there might have been one too many slow songs. I think I love the way I Don't Want to Know follows You Make Loving Fun and precedes Oh Daddy. I think it's very good sequencing. Silver Springs is a good song, maybe even a great song, but it's I'm not sure where they would have put it on the album. Anyway, it is what it is. And in my opinion, I Don't Want to Know is not a throwaway. It's I wouldn't say it's a great song, but it's very well played by the band, great production job, and very catchy and very uplifting. And then the album finishes a little bit somberly with a couple of slower numbers. Oh Daddy from Christine, which I think she's talking about Mick Fleetwood as a kind of father figure. I think I'm right in saying, and a nice melody in a minor key, not her best ever track, but moving. And then Stevie Nicks closes the album with a very atmospheric song, Gold Dust Woman, which kind of precedes the kind of stuff she would do on the Tusk album. I think Sisters of the Moon, those kind of lyrics, and very well sung. And again, not the kind of song which is easily covered, although it works tremendously when Fleetwood Mac do it. And what I will say is, not only is the production good on this job, but on this album, but Lindsey Buckingham, he has a way of bringing out the best in Stevie Nicks' songs and Christine McVie's songs, in the way he arranges them with the band, because he helps to do the arrangements and produces very complementary acoustic guitar, electric guitar, backing vocals, you name it. I think musically if you're going to pick a genius within this lineup, he's the one. Because I think without Lindsey, either of the two ladies, their songs don't quite sound so good for some reason. But then again, Lindsey's solo stuff maybe doesn't live up to his standards with Fleetwood Mac on quite a few occasions, so I'm not sure what I'm trying to say here, but maybe I'm trying to say that the chemistry within the band, within this lineup particularly, is so strong on so many levels. With each member, let's not forget the rhythm section, Mick Fleetwood on drums and John McVie on bass. They're the backbone behind every single track, and again, Mick Fleetwood isn't trying to show off or trying to do anything flashy like Keith Moon. He's just drumming as befits the song in front of him and doing a very tasteful job throughout. And John McVie similarly on bass, not being obtrusive, just playing really nice melodic lines, particularly on, for example, You Make Loving Fun. So it's a 5-star album without question. It's a 10 out of 10. A lot of people's favourite. Maybe, you've heard it, one has heard it a little bit too often over the years, but it's the kind of album, if you leave it up for a few months and then go back to it, it just sounds staggering, and it's timeless, and it's going to be 40 years old this year. So, thanks for watching. See you next time.